Tottenham Hotspur basically have opened the door for Arsenal to win the league. They've rolled the red carpet out. Tottenham fans, all they do is bang on about how much they hate Arsenal, and then when they play Arsenal, they roll over, and when they play City, they take points off City. It's like, Thomas Frank, what are you doing?
Yeah, I know. It was embarrassing.
You know, I just think it's ridiculous. Should we hear what our dear friend Flav has to say about this catastrophe at Tottenham? I guess we do.
I think that the situation with Frank has changed somewhat, and it's really about how he set up that game. Now, if he's at Brentford or another football club or any football club that goes to the Emirates, right? I can understand why a back five might be a sort of sensible thing to do, but with us and the subtext to what this game means, you can't do that. That isn't an option for Thomas Frank. If he does it and you snatch a 1-0, then you kind of take it. But if anything goes wrong, then suddenly questions are asked. So, you know, what we tried to do effectively was stink the place out. And we couldn't really even manage to do that. So when they made the breakthrough on 31 minutes, game plan out the window, and there's no real answer. Then you got to open up a little bit as we did in the second half, and we got punished. Arsenal are going to win the league. I hate to say it, but they are, and they not only are they an excellent group of players. Arteta has fine-tuned that team to do exactly what it needs to do to win the league. But in the small half spaces was where that game was dominated by Arsenal yesterday. So Frank has a couple of issues here. Not only has he set us up in this negative way, which no doubt feeds into the players, because they're like, well, if we're set up this way, what can we do? What chance do we have? He's isolating Richarlison. Yesterday isolated and asking too much of Kudus, right? If you know that the passing lanes are not open and we're not getting through the midfield, Arsenal can double up or triple up on Kudus, which is what they did. They crowded him out of the game. This is on Thomas Frank in a big way. And, that type of performance, gutless and scared, is essentially what it seemed like. He might come out. I mean, he'll come out and say it's pragmatism, right? We've got to do the best. We've got to what we've got. But in a North London derby, it means something different. You don't go there and sharp shop and just hope not to get beat. It's not acceptable. It just isn't. And he's done a lot of damage, I think, to his reputation. Not that we don't. When I say we, I'm not talking about all Spurs fans, but his reputation amongst some Spurs fans has been hit here. And there are questions about whether or not, I'm not sure, I mean, I'm not there, but you have to ask the question based on what you saw yesterday, is he the right fit, if that's what he's going to do?
Yeah, very interesting and insightful stuff there from Flav from the Fighting Cock. Really interesting, and you could tell that he was a pained man. You're a prick.
You said insightful. I'm hearing Flav talking about half space.
Yeah,
look, what he said, what he got spot on was about the back five, because Thomas Frank has taken a Brentford approach, with all due respect to nothing football club, to Tottenham Hotspur. You don't like Tottenham. They're still a massive football club.
Yeah, of course.
I obviously
never
know that.
ever argued.
But you can't take that to Tottenham and then go flat back five and have 0 XG and not learn from the Chelsea game. This was the Chelsea game at home, and they had no shots basically against Chelsea. It was embarrassing stuff. And they've done the same thing to Arsenal, and they got absolutely bullied. It's not the approach. It's not the proper way to handle a football match. Yeah, we can have modern strategy and scientific examinations into how to approach a football game. But ultimately, it is about desire. It's about saying to 11 guys, you go out there and believe in yourselves. There'll be sides. If Port Vale go to the Emirates in the FA Cup, they'll play better than Tottenham in the North London derby.
I agree. And do you know what, Buvey? Do you know what makes everything you've said there even more stark for Thomas Frank? On some definition, I think most Tottenham fans would agree with this. Their two biggest games of the season are Chelsea and Arsenal, and they have been pitiful in both. They haven't turned up for either.
You don't forget those.
Like, we battered them 1-0. Yeah. It was the most one-sided 1-0 I've ever seen. We basically beat them 4-0. It was 1-0. Tottenham conceded. They conceded 1 against us, but kind of morally they conceded 4. And they actually conceded 4 against Arsenal in the worst possible circumstances.
Fans will never forget.
No.
If you went 4-3-3 and maybe you lost 3-0, but you had some opportunities, I think you'd rather see that than what Richarlison did with that goal.
Yeah,
it was a beautiful goal.
Because you can't.
It was a nothing goal.
You
Didn't mean
can't.
anything.
It's the nothing goal. You're right.
You'd rather lose 3-0 with style.
Yeah.
At least Ange, as much as I really can't stand Ange Postecoglou, at least he was going for something adventurous.
And I can't agree with I know what you mean, and you're right. On some level, he did go for the jugular, but he was a Burke as well. What I think we can say though is there are certain managers you go out with your head held high. I always think of Mourinho at the Emirates. You know, you go out with your head held high. You go there, you fight, you win your 50-50s. Like, if nothing else, why are you getting bullied by Arsenal?
No.
Why is Palhinha not putting in some 50-50 challenges and winning?
Well, they looked exposed. So it goes back to what we talked about Liverpool. It's like, yeah, it's all well and good having 3 centre-backs. They got exposed over and over again, even in the first minute when Rice should have scored. Whereas Palhinha, when they're running at the back line. For me, it reminded me of Graham Potter at Chelsea. Graham Potter's gone in there at Chelsea with a great CV. I'm a massive fan of what Potter did going into Chelsea, what he did with Swansea and Brighton. He's given Brighton stability beyond his years, because they're doing really well right now with players that he's developed, by the way. Thomas Frank to Tottenham is very similar to Graham Potter at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think he's way out of his depth.
I think you're right. Small club mentality.
A project manager.
Small club mentality at a big club doesn't work.
No, he has to change something
when
now.
You go to a big club from a small club, you have to become a big manager.
It's Nuno at Tottenham, all over again.
Yeah, it's Potter at Chelsea. You're absolutely right. Like, some managers can do it. Like, I think De Zerbi is capable of going from a small club like Brighton to a big club like Marseille. I think that Iraola...
Marseille's not Tottenham. It's not.
I would say that De Zerbi could have done it, though. I think Iraola's capable.
He might have blown up.
I think Iraola's capable. I think Glasner's capable.
We don't know that. We don't know that yet. That's why it takes a very special breed of manager to manage.
But you can't wave a white flag at Arsenal if you're the Tottenham manager.
No, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Do you know what he made it? He made it a sort of David versus Goliath.
No.
Like it was like Barnet. It was like Barnet were playing against Arsenal.
Yeah, lucky to be there.
Yeah.
You just won a trophy more recently than these guys. Like, on some level, there are certain players that get into this Arsenal side for a lot of Spurs fans were going on about Romero complimenting Saliba in a combined 11 and Van de Ven and Udogie.
Yeah. You can't play 5 at the back.
Man.
5 at the back plus Palhinha. You're approaching it like you're happy to be there.
And he talks, his post-match press conference was very... it was stoic. It wasn't very emotional. That's who he is as a manager. But again, you're looking for a bit of a reaction. He's talking about, we'll go back to the drawing board and start up again. But I think that these results are almost bigger than his CV. I think they'll be long in the memory of Tottenham fans. And I do worry that this is a permanent mark on his stain on his career. But
let's not. History has taught us that we're wrong. Okay, we've learned that we're wrong. But I thought Thomas Frank was a good appointment for Tottenham.
I did. But I thought Graham Potter was a good appointment at Chelsea. I bet you've done a video saying that it was a good appointment because he's a progressive young manager who's going to develop the kids, get a bit of money, new ownership with Clear Lake, and it's all optimistic. Football changes. You're not an idiot for thinking that. Like, it just sometimes doesn't work out.
Do you think that it's gone for him here? Or do you think that he can somehow get it back?
I don't know if they're going to sack him mid-season, but if they get... let's say the FA Cup rocks around at the start of the year and they lose early in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. Do you know the only excuse I'll make for him? Their team is terrible. Like, when you see them lining up and you're looking at Odebear and Richarlison.
The front three is terrible. I agree with the front three. The midfield, Bentancur and Palhinha is not bad. Sarr's come back as well. They've been ravaged with injuries as well, but the front three is an issue for sure. And that's not his fault because where's the backup?
Yeah.
Marwani on loan.
Brennan Johnson. Yeah.
Where's the backup?
Yeah.
Eze was meant to come through the door.
Yeah.
What happened to Eze?
I know.
It's not his fault. If they lose to Eze and they didn't get the deal done for whatever reason, that's not his fault, is it?
No, It's problematic. Look, a couple of weeks ago, we saw Jed Spence and Van der Ven ignoring Frank after that defeat to us. The fans seem to be turning their back on the manager metaphorically in the way that the players did literally. Can you see a world where Frank is sacked? And if he is sacked, where on earth do they go? Like, if the Thomas Frank project is over in November... and he's lost the dressing room and it feels like he's losing the fans. And from what Flav said there, he is losing the fans. Where on earth do they go?
They won't sack him now, will they? They won't sack him now. They didn't sack Ange. They came 17th.
Yeah.
They never sacked him. Do you know what I mean?
They did.
Like, mid-season when they're seeing these results come in.
I guess...
At least there was a point where they were nearly, a few points off the top of the table. So...
Yeah.
all I'm saying is it will compound heavy. This loss compounded with a couple of losses coming up in the next few weeks, then he could be out the door.
Yeah.
But I think he's a lot more. I think he's strong for this season, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and maybe he deserves a season. You can't bring in. I mean, he's not an impact manager.
Is he too nice?
He's a projects manager.
Is he a nice guy? Is that his issue?
Maybe. He's
Is
a
he
nice
too
guy
nice?
and he works well at Brentford. Potter was a nice guy, worked
All
well
the
at
Brentford
Brighton.
players are gassed because they're giving him an opportunity. If he brings someone like Mbeumo out of nowhere, gets them into scoring 20 league goals, they all love this guy because they get him moved to Man United. They get on 250 grand a week. They love, you know, he's a parachute kind of manager, isn't he? He's giving these guys opportunities.
No, it's bad. It's really bad.